We start with the term socialization. Socialization is the process of being raised within a culture and acquiring the characteristics of that group. Okay, so socialization is how we learn our culture, how we learn the way of life of our people, how we learn pagmamano, how we learn pamamanhikan, how to greet our elders, for example. Okay, so that's socialization. And this is usually the first form of education that we give our kids. Okay, so they just socialize, they just observe, they just imitate whatever is happening in their society. So again, as teachers and as parents, it is very important for us to play role models to our kids and to our students. Remember, children see, children do. Okay, so sometimes you just be very amazed at what your child is gonna speak, or at what your child says, because little did you know it, your child has already imbibed the things that you were saying. Your child has already been influenced by all the people around him. Okay, so be very wary, be very careful when you're talking around kids and when you're acting around kids, okay? Because they're very sensitive, they're very absorbent. Ika nga, no? They're like sponges. They can easily follow and imitate whatever it is that they see the adults are doing. Okay, now culture, according to our social dimensions, it can be transmitted by three ways. Okay, the first way that we have here is enculturation. Enculturation is just learning your own culture. Now, common questions in the lab. For number one, enculturation, there are certain questions in the lab like, you live in an agricultural part, or you live around coconut plantations, and your father is teaching you how to make copra. Okay, what form of transmission of culture is shown here? Another form of question that you can find in the lab based on enculturation is that you live near the sea and your parents are fishermen. One day, your father taught you how to make shrimp paste. Okay, tinatawag po nating shrimp paste is bagoong. Okay, so what form of cultural transmission is this? Your answer then would be enculturation. Okay, so that's enculturation, learning your own culture. Paano ka nag-learn ng pagmamano? Paano ka nag-learn ng saying the rosary, for example? Okay, the Angelus, these are all part of our culture, and these are all transmitted through enculturation when we learn our own culture. The second form of cultural transmission would be acculturation. When you say acculturation, this is learning some parts of another culture. Now, this is very popular right now. This is very uso in the Philippines, since we have all been addicted to K-dramas. Okay, so many of you have been addicted to Crash Landing on You, other dramas with different oppas that you have, and then you have tried learning some parts of their culture, like you're also making the finger heart. What else? You can also speak some words from the Korean language. So if you try to learn, or once you start learning some parts of another culture, then that is called acculturation. Okay, so that's acculturation, learning some parts of another group's culture. Now, the last one that we have here is assimilation. Assimilation would mean the losing your own culture and acquiring another culture. So say you have migrated here in the United States and you have completely forgotten how to speak Tagalog or how to speak Filipino, how to speak your dialect. You have completely forgotten all the parts of the Filipino culture, and you have completely embraced the culture of the Americans. Okay, so once you've done that, then that method of transmitting culture is called assimilation. Okay, so these are the three different ways through which culture may be transmitted. Enculturation, learning your own culture. Acculturation, learning some parts of another culture but not losing your own culture. And the last one is assimilation. That means losing your own culture and acquiring another culture. Okay, so these are, again, the three ways of transmitting culture. Now we go to our social foundations. Okay, now the last word that we have here is indoctrination. This would also come out in the let. What is the meaning of the term indoctrination? This means teaching someone to fully accept an idea or belief, even if that person did not completely or does not completely understand your idea or belief. You are just forcing it to that person. Okay, so usually indoctrination is a word that is related or that is associated with the terrorists. Okay, forgive me for using the word, but this is the way of transmitting culture or transmitting ideas, ideals, beliefs to the young rebels that we have. Okay, so sinasabing, for example, pag yung mga Abu Sayyaf inculturate yung kanilang mga bata, the young soldiers, the child soldiers that they have, they call that indoctrination. Okay, they're trying to teach someone to fully accept an idea or a belief.